We start this month with a huge Cyber Monday, and we're also celebrating the launch of brand new programs over at Synchronicity University, which includes legendary astrologers like Maurice Fernandez and legends in the making like Key Taylor and Sabrina Monarch, and so much more. All those links are below. It'll be a great month. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous superstar Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of December 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is it a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us, and this is a big astrological month, especially for you. We've got a lot going on. We start on a new moon and we end the month on a rare second new moon as well. But it is about the full moon in your sign, smack dab in the middle of the month, that is going to be that much more significant for you. And I'm actually going to start there in interesting ways. And that's because I want to bring that focus on you. This full moon is mighty interesting. It is not far away in the sky from Jupiter. And so that brings with it hope and healing and this sense of you being on new pathways and being encouraged to do so. However, this full moon in your sign is speaking in a conversation of tension with Neptune, a wide conversation of tension with Saturn. What that means is maybe not as strong tension, but tension is there nonetheless. Now, that Neptunian energy is what is especially significant, because to me, this larger configuration can represent needing to acknowledge or honor where disappointments have taken place for you. When we have important energies in your sign, like lunar events, it means that identity, priorities, what matters to you most and first, and who you know yourself to be is at the forefront. And so those things most on the surface, they feel that much more important. It's what's nearest and dearest to you that is signified here. And a square to Neptune just makes things either not clear or brings with it a feeling of disillusionment, maybe even disappointment. I'm so sorry to say, but it does happen. Because Saturn is squaring as well, there's a sense of needing to be realistic, even if it's hard. And Neptune has to do with a dream. And so you can see here, a part of you might feel like you're working really hard to manifest something, but having to look at what's disappointing you as well. It's a full moon, which brings things to culmination and conclusions as well. But here's the saving grace. It's that Jupiter close to that full moon. And that suggests there is hope. And that hope is you. It is you ultimately that as long as you have yourself, you have everything. I truly believe that. But also, you're on new pathways. And sometimes as part of that, you've got to acknowledge where certain pathways have served their purpose so that you're open to the new and the next that much more, with that much more enthusiasm and optimism. There's an awareness of all that you're looking forward to, all that you're excited to do. But as part of that, it might feel so on the surface when there is some sense of disappointment or something just not working or something you're really trying to make work. And so, I like to say, pace yourself and be yourself. You really want to do that now. But I would also say, listen to your life. And that is because on the same day as we have that full moon in your sign is when Mercury goes direct in your opposite sign. And so what is taking place with a one-on-one alliance in your life is going to be so significant for you. This could be a business partnership or a professional alliance. And there I'm going to start at the beginning of the month, actually, and start to see how these energies end up connecting. I will come back to what's happening in your opposite sign when we get to the love portion of this video. But I'm going to touch on it now as part of understanding alliances of all kinds, including professional ones. And so at the very beginning of the month, we have a new moon in your opposite sign under the light of Mercury retrograde. Now, this new moon is speaking in a conversation of tension with Saturn, but in supreme harmony with Mars. Now, Mars is in a communicative part of your sky. We've got that new moon representing new chapters, new possibilities, new beginnings. However, Mercury is retrograde in your opposite sign. And so, reintroductions to people, new beginnings with people you might have been aligned with before. These are some possible scenarios that find you early in the month. But I feel like whatever might be happening, and especially where it is that it feels like you are reconnecting with others, it is under the light of the full moon that you understand those alliances differently in some way, more deeply. You understand their purpose in your life that much more as well. Consider that full moon. I know I'm jumping around a bit between the new moon and the full moon for the first 2 weeks of the month. But the new moon that starts the month is square Saturn. The full moon in your sign is square Neptune and Saturn as well. And when you take these energies into account, and Saturn and Neptune at the top of your sky, having to do with an understanding of a higher, more loving vision for your life, the goals that you have, a sense of what you're moving upwards towards, who supports you in that and who doesn't. What goals have served their purpose in your life, and where now are new possibilities opening up for you? Where is it that someone else is presenting new opportunities to you to align with your goals, and where does it feel off in some way? In some way, understanding your direction itself is going to change your relationship with yourself and with others as well. So we'll come back to that opposite sign energy in a moment. As I said, I want to talk about some other things. That is the fact that on the 6th of the month, we're going to have Mars going retrograde. Of course, there are Mars retrograde special horoscopes at my website, nadiyashah.com. And also, I've been talking about it here on my YouTube channel as well, so you can check that out. But for all that, let me say, this is a communicative part of your sky. And Mars brings with it urgency, excitement. It brings with it passion. And so your communications are likely to take on that much more of a passionate sense of possibility. You might come across more aggressive than you realize, but also having conversations with others might feel like they push your buttons in some way as well. And so, again, I have to say, pace yourself at this time. With that Mars going retro, its energies are going to feel that much more heightened. Your mind is going to be racing a mile a minute, and you might be very used to that. And in that way, this might be a time that feels like there's a high of sorts playing out for you, an uptick of energy, especially mind energy. And that could feel rather encouraging, comforting even. But know that with a retrograde, the way that you're thinking about things, well, where it comes to making choices, that's where you want to be careful. Outside of that, where you are reconsidering, or at least where it is that you are open to understanding some higher karmic path that you're on in terms of how you're thinking about things, what you're curious about, what you want to learn about. Well, that's going to come to the surface, and your siblings, cousins, and neighbors are going to become that much more important people for you over the course of this month with that Mars placement. On the 7th of the month, Neptune goes direct. This is huge. Once a year, you have Neptune standing still, going forward, and it is going to be this moment that is a wake-up call of sorts. It is as if you are shaken awake in one area of life. That's how we experience Neptune going direct energy. So all of us are going to feel awakened in some way or another. For you, this is about those higher hopes you have for your life, that sense of career, that sense of you moving into alignment with a higher, more loving vision for your life, as opposed to just lofty aims, which is a different part of the sky. This is more about the actual goals that you have, what you're practically aiming for. And there is going to be some sense of awareness around where perhaps something, whether or not it's related to your career, it could relate to just about any area of life. But again, you're aiming for it. It's a goal. Might be a bit of a pipe dream, or what it actually entails, or whether or not you actually want it, if it's actually worth the journey. There might be some impact you're hoping to make with achieving some goal, and now you get to see whether or not that's actually the way. And so, as much as this energy can be ambitious, it can also be dreaming, but it's about how it is that you channel those dreams and use this inspiration to your advantage. And where you haven't been doing that, and especially where it is that fears have led the way, you're going to be able to see that much more clearly now. On the 30th of the month, we will have the second new moon, the rare second new moon, to take place in a calendar month. And this new moon happens in a part of the sky that has to do with profound change, truth, transformation, regeneration. And it also has to do with a deeper understanding of your own motivations, especially on a level of psychology. Wealth is covered here, how you define it, how you experience it, and resources, your access to resources like grants, loans, credit cards, benefits you qualify for. So those chunks of money is what is covered here. We have a harmonious connection between this new moon and Saturn. I love that energy. It is suggesting practical steps being made, new beginnings to be had, yes. And it is those steps that you take now that can create a positive momentum for you. You're being realistic around one of these matters. So if it is that you're working towards a process of change, it's about understanding the journey, committing to the journey. If it is that you're reaping results of a transformative journey in one way or another, they've been a long time coming in some way. But this can also speak to, of course, your ability to access resources. If that's something you're trying to do, just make sure you're being honest, you're being practical, you're being realistic. Those are going to be the pathways that allow you to feel that much more fulfillment where it comes to what it is that you're hoping to have access to, the resources you're hoping to have access to. But for all that, this can also be about building wealth, being realistic around that, what steps you may need to take as part of aligning you with wealth, however it is that you understand it, or at least being able to have access to resources that matter to you. Now, where it comes to matters of love, that is the very big news for the Geminis. It is going to be love. That's going to get a lot of your focus now. Partnerships of all kinds with Mercury retrograde in your opposite sign taking place. Partners from the past can pop up, and sometimes very much by happenstance, seemingly out of nowhere. However, whether it's new people that you're meeting, whether it's reconnections that you're having, you will have a much different and much clearer perspective once we get to that full moon in your sign. I mean, it's almost like with that full moon energy, your truth in terms of your feelings and the truth about this other person is going to be pretty undeniable. It'll be very clear very quickly. And no matter how you feel about it, and with that full moon, either you will be confronted with your own fears, or you will have to look at the disappointment that you're feeling in some way or another, that you did feel in the past in some way or another. All of that is going to stir for you. So it's possible that there is somebody there that you've been connected to before. It's possible that there's an ongoing situation, or there was, and you're just revisiting it. But it's also possible that it's you that's healing some hurt in a past relationship more deeply. And with that full moon, you feel ready to finally move forward. For all that, though, where it comes to matters of love, for those of you open to meeting someone new, partnerships reemerging, people you were partnered with before popping up again is possible. But the other possibility here is that you attract a situation that is very much like one that you were in before. And you have to look at it now in some way or another. It's now that you gain insight into perhaps a previous situation as part of healing from it, moving forward. These are some possible scenarios, but remember, it's that mid-month full moon that wakes you right up. If you are connecting with new people, especially in the first half of the month, what you think it is and what it actually is may end up being very different. It may be better, but a much more likely scenario is you're on a certain path and then you realize it's something else, or you feel something else, or you want something else, or you want them where you didn't realize you did or how much you did. It becomes that much more clear. And for those of you who are just starting to date someone, that becomes very true as well. As we're starting this month, you may have a certain impression. It's either that you're meeting somebody new, especially under the light of that new moon in your opposite sign. It tends to bring new people into our lives, but it's under a Mercury retrograde. So it's like a new introduction to somebody you already know. And so again, whether you're open to meeting someone new or whether it is that you're just dating somebody right now, just stay open to possibility. But for all of that, also understand that I don't think you're going to see this situation, this person very clearly until we get that Mercury direct under the light of the full moon in your sign. And so whatever you're thinking the relationship is in the first half of the month, whatever you might be hoping for, or how open you are to another situation outside of this person, whatever that might be, what seems like a really good idea, what seems really clear, what seems like, that's what I want, all of it could just turn on its head once we get to the middle of the month. But that's also with this person as well. What they will clearly let you know in one way or another through their actions, through their decisions, or they communicate it with you. That's ideally, right? If they have that level of maturity to do that. What they start the month off feeling and thinking, and where they are in terms of their perceptions once we get to the middle of the month could end up being very different as well. So just pace yourself, be yourself. If you want to spend time with this person, enjoy their company for what it's worth, knowing that regardless, you are moving towards greater love than you've known before. And it's possible it could be with this person. And for those of you in an established bond, well, it could be that some past situation might or might not have involved the partnership. It might just be in regards to what's happening in your partner's life that pops up again or has to be dealt with in some way, especially in the first half of the month. And then Mercury goes direct and everything looks a lot more clear. But for all that, it could also be about the partnership itself. If there are matters that weren't properly addressed before, practical matters or emotional matters, they may just stir for you now. And it is going to be this journey that you undertake that's going to let you know whether or not there can be meaningful healing and what moving forward looks like for the two of you. The overwhelming majority are going to find this a time of a fresh new understanding with your partner that helps you to feel like you're able to face whatever disappointments have been there, especially in the past, but ultimately move towards a deeper understanding of each other. But there is going to be that percentage out there, a small percent. If you felt for a while that this might not be the right person for you, I think you're going to see that differently, more clearly in some way. And it's going to speak to, and it's going to help you to understand what your choices are, what you might want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say the full moon in your sign. That is the star of the show for you. Normally you get one full moon per sign per year, and this is your moment. And it's a moment of heightened emotion, but also heightened realization as well. The truth of what you feel is going to be very much on the surface in one way or another, and in a way that's ultimately going to be undeniable. So you might as well embrace it. Because ultimately, when you follow your truth, at the very least, it'll lead you on a path of greater peace. And from there, you truly can be yourself. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership Rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Remember, this is December. We've got lots of giveaways happening over on my website, NadiyaShah.com, and on my social media. So make sure you follow me there. And I look forward to celebrating this last month of December with you. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.